I know I'm a little tardy to the party. Virgin Galactic reported earnings yesterday, and obviously is the hottest stock right now in the market. I mean, as far as people talking about it, I think it's important to, well, talk about it. So we're going to take a crack at those earnings, see what's going on. Obviously, the stock was up yesterday as a result. Nothing major, but especially for this kind of company, the way it's been moving lately, it's all over the place. I mean, look at that. That's Mount Everest right there. So let's look at these earnings, and Virgin Galactic posted a GAAP EPS of negative 30 cents, missed by 12 cents. It's not horrific, all things considered, on a GAAP perspective, but it's not pretty either. And here's the concern, obviously. Revenue of $0.24 million, down 86.5% year over year. Okay. Now, is it even fair? I mean, $240,000 is what they made, right? That's revenue. Missed by $0.41 million. Son of a gun. They're already anticipating a big decline, but that is a big, big decline. So, shares were up because of this. One thing to mention with this company, and I think it's right away, I don't think people understand, this is not a company that makes money right now. I'm not talking about profit. I mean, they don't actually make revenue right now. They've got nothing really going on. This is a company 100% in the most sincere term of infancy of a company. That's what this is. They're in the process of learning how to make money, but right now they are entirely just an idea. Investors are trading off entirely speculation and an idea that this company will be something. It's crazy to think about that this company, which, holy crap, trading at a market cap of $3.5 billion. It's going to be lucky for them to, I mean, they'll maybe cross the $2 million this year. Maybe cross $2 million in revenue this year if they're lucky. And they're trading at $3.5 billion. It's probably one of the most absurd things I've ever seen in the market. I just got to be 100% honest. I mean, you talk about absurdity with Tesla, but Tesla, you've already seen the results, and that's why it was trading so high. And that's why it is trading so high. Virgin Galactic is 100% speculation that it's trading that high on, and I think that's pretty crazy to see that. If we get more into the numbers, I just can't believe it. I don't know. Okay, report the new NASA contract is why people were excited about it. Again, they're working on the ability to make money, right? They don't make it right now, but they're working on the ability to make it. It also boasts the high short interest, amounting to more than 20% of float, while as way of comparison, Tesla's short interest amount to around 14%, okay, and which could be accounting for some of the volatility. Then again, Tesla's a proven company, so don't really need to put that together, Mr. Brad Olson. The NASA Pact is designed to facilitate high-speed technologies. The company also noted that registrations of interest in a reservation of flights rose 15% quarter over quarter. That's not massive, but that's that's interest. Registrations of interest. They're not reserving any flights. These are people that are just saying, yeah, I would like to go on a flight. That's entirely stupid. So you're pretty much going to go take a poll online, and they're going to take that and say, yeah, people are interested in flying, right? Of course people are interested in flying to space. It's not feasible, though, for most people. The people who are interested in this really aren't going to be having a chance to partake in it. I mean, when this thing starts off, this is a company, we're not talking about actual commercial flight. We're talking 15 years down the road if we're talking about availability for the public, 10 to 15 years down the road. I understand maybe in the next couple of years they could potentially get something out entirely for the elite, the top, the 1% of the 1%. It's not going to be an affordable thing at all. Okay, only a certain very small market will be able to partake in this. And obviously I think they'll be interested in it, but I just don't know where that translates to in the future, this company staying alive and giving that to everyone else in the public for an affordable rate. I just don't know about that. But We're encouraged by the response of their One Small Step initiative with over 400 refundable deposits, payments received from individuals in 44 countries, representing 100 million of potential future revenue upon full ticket payment, and they will mostly get pulled. That's one thing about these 100% refundable deposits. It's just a fact. And also, that's representing $100 million only. Your market cap's $3.5 billion, buddy. Excuse me? And out of those, I would say probably 50% pull, just being 100% honest. We talk about the high demand for the Tesla Cybertruck right away. Those are 100% refundable deposits as well. A lot of people probably did that just to say, hey, look, I booked a trip to the moon, or I booked this Cybertruck. I'm going to get the Cybertruck because it looks like a Halo 1 Warthog or something. That's what people are doing with this, okay? They're going to book this and say, I'm going to space. And then when time comes, most of them probably are not going to be doing it. Just a fact. I don't know. It's just crazy. It's crazy to look at. But let's look at these slides they presented us and just take a look. I just don't know. So, as far as their highlights, the first and only public company focused on commercial human spaceflight. They're definitely not the first and only. They're not the only. They might be the first, potentially, but debatable. They can say what they want. They're a sizable and growing market for high-end luxury experiences. Highly engaged customer base with demonstrated willingness to pay. Highly engaged. Okay, buddy. Attractive business model with reusable and scalable design. That one's fair. Okay. Strong competitive position. Debatable. Underpinning more than $1 billion dollars of investment. Again, there's a company raising capital pretty heavily, but they're a compelling financial profile with pathway for rapid, profitable growth. They're not losing money hand over fist. So once they start bringing in revenue, potentially, the way they're going to charge for these flights, they should bring in revenue because it's going to be extremely high margin for them. It just is. And they have an experienced and proven management team and flight operations. We're talking about a CEO that's actually flown with NASA, so it's fair. As far as their virus impacts, I don't think it's necessarily worth looking at all that much. The 2019 highlights you see really are just pictures, apparently. This man went to Wall Street. Good for them. The CEO went to Wall Street. That makes me proud. But no, they launched some commercial flights last year. They did. Not commercial flights, but they launched test flights last year that were successful. So very cool for them. In January 8th, the second spaceship achieved weight on wheels milestone. Cool. The third spaceship achieved 50% completion of structure and system fabrication. As you see, this is just a hole right now, but it will become a vehicle, a bird, as they might say. So they completed numerous structural and mechanical installations on the SS-2, and this is a company with just a couple flying spaceships, just a couple shuttles, more like shuttles. They installed landing gear doors, installed feather actuator structure, they installed the feather flap hinges, and they completed feather horn to torque tube attachment. Again, they're talking about very specific things. It's kind of weird that they're giving updates on one vehicle when a lot of companies crank out vehicles like no one's business. But again, it's a company in its infancy, and this is trying to be revolutionary technology. I don't know if I necessarily care about what they produced on one vehicle, but on February, they relocated their first spaceship, VSS Unity, from Mojave, California, to Spaceport America, New Mexico. Not a big flight, but they did it. So they completed a transition of all Virgin Galactic operations from Mojave to New Mexico, bringing current total number of staff in New Mexico to 178 employees. They completed the first and second floors of Spaceport America, and they continued to build the third floor at Spaceport America, which would be used by used for astronaut training and flight preparation activities. Pretty cool. It is exciting stuff. So the FAA previously issued reusable launch vehicle license to allow Virgin Galactic to conduct spaceflight missions. Typically, these vehicles can only go to space once for the most part. So they're working on being able to. Obviously, they can't build one vehicle per commercial flight. They need to build a shuttle that can last multiple flights for them. But they need approval for that. The path to final approval and verification validation program contains 29 elements. Virgin Galactic cleared 4 new V&V elements provisions during Q1, primarily around cabin and environment safety. Have now cleared 24 of the 29. If they don't clear this, gosh, the stock's going to tumble like no one's business. From a testing program perspective, they successfully completed glide flights of the VSS Unity from Spaceport America, as I mentioned. They remained focused on completing test flight program as soon as possible, testing and optimizing the end-to-end customer experience, and they're readying the vehicles for long-term high-rate success. They had a glide flight on May 1st. Good for them. I mean, the vehicle flew. Obviously, pretty exciting. Good for them. And they tested 2 different vehicles, obviously, there. So the agreement with NASA is to advance U.S. efforts in to produce technically feasible high Mach vehicles. Their initial focus will be on vehicle thermal management and propulsion systems options in the Mach 3 to 5 regime. Okay. Their agreement signed with NASA Langley Research enabled collaboration across all of NASA facilities, or it facilitates the development of sustainable high-speed technologies over the coming years, and it leverages Virgin Galactic's robust platform, advanced technologies, and first-mover advantage. Cool for them. Their One Small Step initiative is really to include everyone getting involved. I mean, the One Small Step is their commercial flight plan. As far as what's happening, it's a $1,000 refundable deposit, which that's a lot of money. Debatable if people will actually go through on that. But they're trying to go for ticket sales. It's just as of April 29th, they received 400 deposit payments, exceeding initial expectations. Deposit payments from individuals in 44 countries. 12 countries are new nations in our customer group. So, and 54% of participants are 35 to 50. Okay. From the direct sales funnel, you see the total addressable market of all these people. Debatable. I don't know. Future astronauts, I mean, they're saying around 600 customers, around $80 million is what they're expecting. Debatable? I don't know. It's so hard to say for this company. Net loss of $60 million. It's kind of rough to say they're losing $60 million, but they only brought in $240,000. Am I the only one that thinks that absurd? I mean, it's absurd. It is certainly absurd. I mean, I don't know. Oh gosh, it's scary in my perspective. Let's see if they'll actually show me the balance sheet, or if I'll have to look it up. I'll have to look it up for sure. So let's go see if we can find this balance sheet real quick. As we like to do. So on this company right now, this is going to be in thousands. So they are posting right now, compared to last quarter, they have $419 million in cash versus $480 million previously in the last quarter. Not the most exciting thing. Total assets in general of $584 million. Versus $605 million, so they lost $50 million as expected. I mean, we saw that in the net income line. Total liabilities, though, of only $136 million, right? You could say that's a positive. That didn't really change year or quarter over quarter. So they have more cash than they do liabilities, right? And a lot of that, though, is again off of, a lot of it's off of just debt too. But they have debt. Um, oh my gosh, I don't know. At this point, I don't think it's unfair to say this thing's a Ponzi scheme. I'm not saying that they don't have a product, but I don't know if there's any proof to the public that they have a product, To trade at valuation like this is probably one of the most absurd things I've ever seen in the market. This company won't deserve this valuation for even by their estimates. We're talking 10 years down the road, they won't even deserve this. And the fact that it's already trading at that valuation means this stock really has nowhere to go. If the market is anything rational, which it isn't, to be fair, this stock has nowhere to go. I would not touch this stock with a 10-foot pole. I'm not going to say I'm going to short it because the market's so irrational right now that I can't trust to short it. But I wish I would have. If we're talking about 6 months ago or 3 months ago in February, would have been nice. Down 50% since those highs, but still, regardless, from IPO, company's still up over 65% with valuation that makes no sense. I'll leave it up to you what you think, but I don't know. All I see is more devalued shares coming in the future. They're going to raise capital. I just don't see what there is to like about this company at this point. I don't know. It's just too early for this company. They're not making money. I just don't know what to say.